few cans of celluloid on a junk heap someday. But you, a scientist, you are worth something to the world. I think I've picked you to be saved.
Well, that's very nice of you, Miss Teasdale. But I think it'll be all right about me.
Haven't you any family?
Oh, my little girl, she's staying with neighbors until I get back.
The little girl is worth a lot to come back to.
Oh, yes. We're really very fond of one another. She's 12 now. She's much more soundly developed than most children her age. She really has a remarkable grasp of crystallography.
Oh, that's very good, of course.
Yes.
What is it?
Oh, it's quite fundamental. You see, crystallography...
Has she got a compact?
What?
One of these things, a compact.
Oh, I don't know. Why?
Never mind. That isn't it?
No, that's not it.
Some more minutes and each one is kind of like a present, isn't it? You know what I was thinking about just then? All the people who will come to my funeral. That'll be quite an occasion.
Do you have a family, Mr.?
No, not even a husband at the moment. But there's my agent. Oh, my agent, he'll be very sad. He had 5 more years to go at 10%. And then there's Lauren Colvin. She'll cry the most. She'll give a beautiful performance, and then she'll try to get the part in the picture I was going to make. I suppose that's why I don't feel the way I should. I would have stopped working quite a while ago if I could have figured out what to do with myself. I was married 3 times, but it never came to anything. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if it was all my fault. Maybe Providence is trying to tell me something. Maybe it took a first-class high dive into the middle of the Atlantic to make me quit. And maybe I'd rather it ended with a big splash.
Oh, no. Miss Teasdale, you've made people happy you don't even know about. Like my wife, Mary. You know that she took me to see one of your pictures that last night before the bomb came? She talked a lot about it after we got home.
Oh?
You made that last night very happy for her. Now, that's worth doing, Miss Teasdale. You know, when we used to go to pictures, we used to walk right out of them whenever Mary didn't like them. But we never walked out on one of your pictures.
Mr. Honey, this is not exactly the best compliment I've ever had. But maybe it's the nicest.
Well, that's why I had to tell you what I did. I have to do everything I can for you, don't you see?
You mean it, too, don't you? Scientists are always so busy figuring out new things. Why don't you figure out a mascara that won't run?
Oh, well, I'm afraid that's a little out of my field.
It's all right. I'll be as good as new in a minute. Thank you for holding my hand.
Come in, Miss Corder. The passengers, everything all right back there?
Everything quiet, Captain. They're asleep, most of them. We're behind schedule, aren't we?
Yes, hour and 20 minutes. Well, let them sleep. Coast is all closed in. Fog. We may have to sit up here till it breaks.
Want some coffee?
The only thing I want is to get this ship...
Take a look to starboard, sir.
Starboard? Well. Do I see lights down there, Mr. Dobson?
Yes, sir. Looks rather pretty, don't you think?
Radio Gander, tell them we've just sighted the coast. Unfeathered 2 and 3 engines.
Yes, sir.
Now, how long?
About half an hour. I'll take that coffee now, thanks.
Right. Miss Teasdale.
Oh, yes?
Sorry to awaken you. We're landing in about 20 minutes.
We're that close? We're still in one piece?
Yes, it's a lovely clear night.
So it is. The stars out. Oh, I must have fallen asleep on your shoulder, Mr. Honey.
Oh, well, that's all right. That's quite all right.
I'm sorry you had to be so worried, Mr. Honey.
How long will we be in Gander?
About an hour, I imagine. Excuse me, please.
Quite a night, Mr. Honey. I guess you must have multiplied somewhere where you should have divided.
Well, Mr. Honey, this is Gander.
Well, the stewardess asked me to stay here on the plane. She said...
Mr. Honey, this is Mr. Lund. He's in charge of all flights in and out of Gander.
Yes, how do you do?
Mr. Lund, I want this aircraft inspected as no other's ever been inspected. Every ruddy inch of it.
Yes, sir, we'll get out of the meeting.
If, as I expect, this inspection is satisfactory, I'm refusing to carry Mr. Honey any further.
Well, now, just a minute here, sir.
I consider his presence aboard an unnecessary hazard. I'll arrange that all other flights leaving this airfield are adequately informed about him before they carry him.
Yes, sir.
And meanwhile, if there's an office or something in your building that's not being used, I'm going to radio London, Mr. Honey. Pending their answer, you're staying here at Gander Airfield.
Well, you all right, Mr. Honey? It's a nice warm office, isn't it? Here, I hope you like bacon and eggs.
Well, thank you. It's very nice of you, Miss Corder. What about the plane?
They've just about finished the inspection.
They won't find anything wrong. I told him that. I wish people didn't think they knew everything.
You mean you still believe it's going to crash?
Yes, I believe that. I suppose if they take off, Miss Teasdale will go too.
I expect she will.
I think she believed me for a little while last night, and then I don't think she did.
Your eggs are getting cold, Mr. Honey.
That plane in Labrador, I suppose there was a stewardess on that one, too.
Yes, I knew her very well.
Couldn't you believe me, Miss Corder? You've been so very kind to me, and you ought to live and get married and bring up a family. You'd be very good at that.
Well, thank you very much for that, Mr. Honey. You said that just about as nicely as anyone could. But I think everything will be all right. Captain Samuelson knows a great deal about aircraft. Well, I'd better be going. And you will eat, won't you? I won't lock the door if you promise not to speak to any of the other passengers.
I won't.
Well, goodbye, Mr. Honey. And please stop worrying.
Well, that's about it, Captain. The safety locks are out and the landing gear, but apart from that, your aircraft is clear. You can pick up new locks in Montreal.
There's no risk involved.
No, of course not. Keep a man standing by the lever on taking off and landing, just so nobody catches a coat on it or something. Be rather awkward, you know, if the wheels retracted while you were still on the ground.
Well, just sign us out and we'll be... What are you doing here, Mr. Honey?
Captain, I just happened to...
Mr. Honey, I'm flying this aircraft to Montreal. I want you to get off and stay off.
Captain, you mustn't take this airplane off the ground. You can't do it. Believe me, mathematics is a very exact science. It'll be just like that crash in Labrador and the stewardess and all these people.
Stop and get him off the plane.
No, you can't do this. I won't allow it.
Get away from that
This
lever.
plane has got to be... Oh, it just folded up. I pulled the lever and it just folded right up and sat down.
Well, Mr. Honey, back in the office, I see. Only now there's an armed guard outside, isn't there? Mr. Honey, why did you do it?
I just had to do it, that's all. I had to do it. They wouldn't listen to me. Well, there'll be quite a delay for everybody now, won't there?
Yes, Mr. Honey, quite a delay.
Mr. Honey, if you believe in something, you believe in doing something about it.
Oh,
don't you?
yes. Hello, Miss Teasdale.
Don't these things cost an awful lot of money?
Oh, a tremendous amount of money. I don't know what they're going to do about it. I've never had any experience with anything like this before.
I should think nobody has. I think this is a kind of a world's record. You didn't do it for yourself either, did you? No. We were leaving you behind, weren't we? Look, you better stay here, Mr. Honey. Some of the passengers are a little annoyed with you.
Oh, yes. Well, I'll stay here. I'm under some sort of an arrest, I think.
Well, I'll try to find out what happens next.
Well, it's very nice of you not to be angry about the delay.
Oh, it's worth it. You don't meet a world's record every day.
You know there'll be quite a lot in the newspapers about this.
Oh, dear, yes. Oh, that means my little girl will find out about it, too. I can't imagine what she'll think about me.
Look, I'll probably be sent back to London now for reassignment. Would it help if I went to see your daughter?
Oh, would you do that for me? Well, there's no telling what she'll hear, is there?
Well, whatever she hears, I imagine she'll understand.
Oh, she will? Well, frankly, Miss Corder, I wish I did.
Come in, Mr. Scott, come in. Well, I understand you finally got through to Gander.
Yes, sir, John, and it's true. Right down to the last blasted detail. Mr. Honey wrecked the plane. Mr. Honey dropped that reindeer right on its belly.
It should interest all you gentlemen that in addition to frantic calls from the press, the ARB, the Treasury, and the Home Office, I also heard from Sir David.
Oh, dear.
It is Sir David's belief that there isn't enough money in the Bank of England to pay for the damage done to British aviation by the implication of the safety of their aircraft. Furthermore, he refuses to fly Mr. Honey back to England.